Recent surveys estimate Facebook is now a factor in up to a third of all divorces in this country. Tonight, one local couple's story of how social media can help shatter a marriage.
You always think it can't happen to me. And I think a lot of times when you say those words, you're just setting yourself up sometimes.
Jeff and Denise, who asked not to have their faces shown, got married 12.5 years ago. The early years, they say, were happy. But in 2009, Jeff, consumed with starting a small business, was working long hours, and problems began to emerge.
For me, it was the intimacy in the relationship in the bedroom. And it just wasn't there at all. Once a month, if lucky.
There was lack of communication there, too. In a sense, we kind of went our separate ways. He worked a lot, and then, I was working also, taking care of kids, taking care of the house, so time together was not there.
About this time, Jeff was reconnecting on Facebook with a woman he'd known in high school.
So you felt like you could tell this woman things you couldn't tell your wife?
Absolutely.
Because that part of your life at this point was shut down?
Yeah. I think it's human nature to look back and say, what if? And that's how it progressed. And it just clicked and started going in a direction that it never should have gone.
2 to 3 months after the chatting started, it had turned into an emotional affair. Though the adultery had not yet turned physical, Jeff and the other woman did start meeting in person, and the attraction only grew stronger. Within weeks, Jeff decided to divorce Denise.
We just sat in here and I told her that I was done. I cannot continue on this way. I had fallen in love with somebody else, and I was leaving.
I was totally devastated because I hadn't even seen any warning signs, if I want to say that. It was just like a bombshell had been dropped.
Jeff walked out on his wife and 3 kids, an especially crushing blow to their oldest daughter, who was 8 at the time.
Because I think in a kid's eyes, it's, the only person that dad should like or love is mom, not anybody else.
When we come back, could Jeff and Denise patch things up, or did their divorce become final? Plus tips on how to keep this from happening to your marriage.
All right.
All this picture needs is a Baconator.
Sold. Wendy's Baconator. Lots of fresh cooked bacon and lots of beef. Or try Son of Baconator. Decide how big you want to go.
Now that's better.
The all-new Honda Accord versus its 4 top competitors and 1,200 car and driver readers.
Oh, this is nice. This one I like. That was fun.
You turn, and boom, the car goes.
This is way ahead of the other one.
I actually like the way this one handles more.
I'm liking this one better than the Fusion already.
Oh my god, I like this car.
Their conclusion? The Accord is a winner. Form your own opinion. Test drive an Accord today at your local Honda dealer.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
Meet the News Channel 15 anchors, weather, and sports personalities during the 40th annual Fort Wayne Home and Garden Show at the Coliseum. We'll be there in person Saturday, March 2nd between 10 and 4 and Sunday from 1 to 3. Just look for the News Channel 15 booth.
Tonight's stock report is brought to you by First Source Bank.
Your partners from the first.
SaniFlow. You'll see with SaniFlow, installing a toilet right here is as easy as this. Install the toilet fixtures, connect your water and power supply, and you have a complete working bathroom. What's more, it works anywhere you need.
Even in the basement? Yes, everywhere you need it.
The Fort Wayne Philharmonic continues the Sweetwater Pop Series with Forbidden Broadway, Saturday, March 9th, 8 p.m. at the Embassy Theater. Forbidden Broadway takes the stage with hilarious parodies of your favorite musicals, including Les Mis, Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, Rent, and many more. Forbidden Broadway features a cast of Broadway vets sharing the spotlight with your very own Fort Wayne Philharmonic. Tickets to Forbidden Broadway start at only $25. Call the Phil box office at 481-0777 or purchase online.
Coverage you can count on continues with Heather Herron and Mark Mellinger.
Now the conclusion to the story of Jeff and Denise, a local couple whose home was wrecked in 2009 when Jeff had an affair with a woman he connected with on Facebook. He walked out on Denise and their 3 young kids. So was their marriage really over?
I'd fallen in love with somebody else, and I was leaving.
Jeff did leave and started the process of filing for divorce, but Denise wasn't ready to accept that. About 7 weeks into their separation, in a calm and gentle manner, she actually confronted the other woman in the parking lot of the woman's workplace.
After the confrontation, she was the one that came to me and said, listen, your wife loves you and wants to work this out. My husband wasn't willing to. You need to at least try.
And that was when things started to turn around. With help from their church and Christian counselors, Jeff and Denise reconciled and began to repair their marriage.
I fought for my marriage, and I'm glad I did.
Jeff and Denise say this can happen in any marriage, and they shared their story with us in an effort to warn others. Longtime counselor Tom Sass confirms people in his line of work are seeing more and more cases of marriages compromised by social media.
Did you see more marriages? Have you seen more marriages in the last few years
that have failed because of it? Yeah.
And when people do stray on social media, Sass says they rarely have an accurate picture of who their new partner really is.
There's a great tendency to try to live up to what everybody thinks of you.
What sort of safeguards have you put in place, specifically with regard to social media, but other ones as well? What have you done to make sure this doesn't happen again?
I don't accept friend requests from people in the workplace of the opposite gender.
The other week I had a lunch appointment set up. It was with a woman, and it was with somebody that I had gone to school with, even though we really didn't talk through school. But I could see the nervousness in her. So I wound up taking somebody else with me.
And they have these final words of warning for couples going through struggles similar to theirs.
You've got to communicate. If you're struggling, I think the worst thing anybody can do is talk to somebody of the opposite sex.
You will be tempted.
Yeah.
So be prepared.
And here are some tips to help safeguard your marriage. They come from the local agency LifeWorks Counseling and Consulting. Leaders there recommend you and your spouse have a joint Facebook account. But if you're going to have separate accounts on Facebook or any social media, you should share passwords. Finally, if your spouse is uncomfortable with a certain friend, it is time to disconnect from that person altogether on social media.